Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America. Thank you for joining us on the program. Website, of course, thisweekinamerica.us. We're talking about the book, The Lost Parent Club, written by Lora Ann. The book is a survival guide for preparing for and working through the first year of loss of a parent. Lora Ann shares her own story and ways to cope in a positive way with the hurdles often experienced with the unexpected passing of a parent while learning to work through alongside your surviving parent. She's back with us on the program. Always great to have her with us, and really solid information. And the book is full of resources. The book is called The Lost Parent Club. Lora's website is thelostparentclub.com. Lora Ann back with us on This Week in America. Hi, Lora. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, Rick. Thanks a lot for having me.
We've talked before in the show about how important the first year of separation is and the difficulty that most people have with anxiety, the anticipation going through that period. A year of first, and we're heading into summer, which brings back for a lot of people memories of special times and occasions. You've got vacations, graduations, weddings, and holidays. Give us a little bit of help on how we get through maybe the first summer we're spending without that parent.
Yeah, Rick, you bring up a great point. As you go into the holiday or as you go into the summer, you're starting to see the nice weather and the flowers, and you're starting to have a lot of those family events that start to come up, things like graduations and weddings and anniversaries and birthdays. And I'll tell you, if you're during that first year or two of losing a parent, this can be one of the most difficult times for a family and for you as an individual. And so, there's a lot of quick tips that you can use to sort of manage through those days. First of all, the build up for those days prior to even experiencing it can really be difficult. I know for me, my mom's birthday was in June. And so that first time that June was creeping up on us, I'll tell you, that was one of the hardest periods of time. And, for people outside of our family, they didn't understand, why this was such a difficult time. And so, preparation for that day is really important. And so, there's a number of steps that you can take in order to make sure that you have a plan in place just to get through it, because that can be a difficult time.
The book is called The Lost Parent Club. Lora Ann. The author, is our guest on the program. Her website is thelostparentclub.com. The book is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all across the country, available as well at information at thelostparentclub.com. When you read the reviews, this has been so helpful to so many people, and it's basically sharing the experiences that you went through for that first year, the second year as well. And a lot of resources there. So it's a very valuable guide for people to have. And you said something that's so important, having a plan. And we've talked about this before, where the buildup is worse than the actual day. But if you have a plan, and I know one of the tricks that you like to do, one of the tips is maybe do something special for that parent during that particular time.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, I came up with, during that time, in having to face those days myself that first couple of years, and my family going through that as well, I came really up with 5 quick tips of what can help you and manage through those days. And the first one is, of course, just have a small manageable plan. I think sometimes we go into that day thinking, oh, it's not a big day and I should be able to get through it and I don't really need to have a plan. But the bad side of that is that if you don't have a plan and you feel really down that day, you can be that little hermit that just stays inside, and that's not necessarily the best plan to get you up and going. So having a small plan is important. I think, something else that's important as well is involving others. It's very easy sometimes when we make a plan, if we're only doing something by ourselves, there's not a high level of accountability there. And so it's very easy to say, oh, I don't feel like doing that today, and just, again, stay inside. So I think making sure that you involve others is important. The third tip is really planning a small part of that day, as you mentioned, and doing something to recognize your loved one. And whether that's lighting a candle or going to the cemetery for 15, 20 minutes or so, or meeting a friend, or, going to dinner with a family member, I think that those are all important things, because you tend to, during those times, reflect on the great times that you had and what a great, fulfilling life your parent had as well, and I think that's very important. And you can also find new traditions that you can put into place on those days, and so those can be things that can go year after year, that they become eventually days that you can actually look forward to. And then most important, just choose not to be a victim on those days, and by giving into the grief. I think a lot of times when we know that we're grieving and we know that we're going through a difficult time, it's easy just to give in to that. So you really have to choose to make that a good day.
Some of the information you will find in Lora Ann Young's book, The Lost Parent. The website is thelostparentclub.com. Got about a minute or so left in the program. How difficult is it juggling your needs and your feelings during this period, a surviving parent, and you're looking out for them as well, and other family members who are going through the same anxiety that you are during this period? How difficult is it to take care of yourself and take care of others at the same time?
That can be a very difficult time. I know my sister and I actually have talked a lot about that. She has 3 children, but during the time that my mom passed, they were all relatively young. And so, she made the comment a number of times that there just wasn't time hardly for her to be able to take care of herself and to deal with her emotions, because she still needed to be the happy mom and have the birthday parties and do all those things. And so, I think also as someone without children, it's about, being able to manage my dad and his anxieties that he was going through that were vastly different from mine. But again, I think one of the biggest things that time comes back to in order to manage through it successfully is being able to have a plan. For my sister, we talked a lot about her being able to take an afternoon and where her husband takes care of the kids, and she goes and either goes to the cemetery or goes and does something with a girlfriend, just to have that downtime to sort of work through the emotions that she was feeling. And then for my dad and I, we found that taking long walks together and just sort of talking about our own personal recoveries, that while they were different, they were also very similar. And so we were able to be each other's cheerleader, and it really helped us in managing through the emotions, because we knew that we weren't alone. And we also knew that we weren't the only person experiencing these high anxieties. So just making sure that you partner with your family members to work through it, you'll find that you can really have some great success.
A lot of practical advice, a lot of excellent resources in the book, The Lost Parent Club, a survival guide for preparing for and working through the first year of loss of a parent. The website is thelostparentclub.com. The author is Lora Ann Young, back with us on This Week in America. Lora, as always, great information. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to having you back in the program. Thank you.
Absolutely, Rick. Thanks for having me.
You're listening to This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us.